Hello, and welcome to the Freedom Stein Laboratory, where I know it's Thanksgiving week and everybody says it's a slow news week, but we have some stuff that we're cooking up, boiling up, doing all the sciencey stuff with. So I think you'll find this episode entertaining. It is November the 26th, 2025. And one of the first things I wanted to talk about is in regards to TimCast versus, I guess you could almost say, Candace Owens. We're also going to get into talking about, are the Neocons trying to erase MAGA or overtake it and get rid of it and go back to the way things were during the Bush era? Wouldn't that be pleasant? And we also have some other news that we're going to be sharing as well. So first up, I want to jump in and talk about what's going on here with Tim Pool, TimCast IRL. I was listening to their show from 19 hours ago, so I don't know that it was last night. It might have been, actually, I think it was the 25th. So I think it was from yesterday. Don't quote me on that. But it's the most recent episode that they've done. And they decided to address the Candace Owens coming out and telling everybody that the French Foreign Legion is after her. And then the fact that she just kind of disappeared. Now, let me preface this by saying the reason why I know what Tim Pool and the guys on his show that had joined him were talking about is because I'm a fan. I listen to TimCast all the time. Tim is a lot along the lines that I am. I would say he's more libertarian than conservative. I think now that he's become a father and gotten married, he's starting to lean a little bit more conservative. I have seen some things that make me think that he's getting in line with where you're supposed to be when it comes to conservatism and the GOP. And I get a little worried that he might be losing some of his independence there. But I was really taken aback with what happened on this show. I'm going to go ahead and share that here and then comment on what happened.
Candace Owens' show is off the air, and she has an update. She has confirmed receipt with the White House of the assassination plot from Macron and the French Foreign Legion and Israel. Well, the French Foreign Legion is a collection of various different countries. They're trying to kill Candace Owens. Phil, why are you laughing?
Because it's hilarious.
Yeah, so this is the biggest story. It's very important. We all talk about it. But
okay. So I love Phil from All That Remains too. I agree with him on a ton of stuff. But I was like, wait, why are we laughing and making this like it's a joke? I could understand if these were some lesser known guys out there that have nobody watching their videos, kind of like me. You know, if I'm sitting here laughing about it, making fun of it, it's not a big deal because nobody's trying to kill me. Although I will tell you, for those of you who didn't watch some of the videos that I was making over on Facebook before I started doing this, I had the pizza, I guess, I don't know, what do they call it when you're getting swatted? It was like pizza swatting. So I didn't have like the SWAT team come, but I had pizzas delivered to my house back when I did a conservative political show from 2009 to 2013. And I got doxxed and had pizzas delivered to my house, and it all felt very threatening. So I kind of know a little bit what it's like to feel like people want to come after you. And I just don't understand when you have Tim Pool, who has come on many times, especially after Charlie Kirk's assassination, to remind everyone that he gets threats too, and that these are credible threats, and that he's reported them to the FBI and they've had to up their security, and maybe he doesn't even want to do his show anymore, and they're not going to do live shows, and maybe they will do live shows. And he's gone back and forth now for the last 2 months because he doesn't feel safe. And I understand that because he's not. And he has a child. He doesn't want to die. He doesn't want to be the next Charlie Kirk. Nobody does. So why would you laugh about Candace Owens being threatened? Even if you don't think the French Foreign Legion is coming after her, which I don't know, why is that funny? Do you think she's making that up? Do you think she's not being threatened? Of course she is. She's more reviled than you are, Tim Pool. So it's not something to make fun of and just like, huh, whatever. She has credible threats against her as well. Now he goes on for the rest of the episode there while they're talking about the Candace Owens stuff to talk about, well, the way she put this out there, she puts it out and then all of a sudden she's gone for a week to, I don't know, make it more intense or something like that. And I'm like, okay, she probably always takes the week of Thanksgiving off. Isn't pretty much everybody? I mean, Megyn Kelly, I think she's just running her live shows this week. I think she took the week off. I know she's been doing the morning update, but she's not doing her show. A lot of people take this time off. So, I mean, that's not weird that she did that. It just kind of leaves us all hanging because it's a big deal in the middle of the night. And then she posts on X, I've let the White House and the intelligence agencies and everything know, and they've let me know that they've gotten receipt of it. And it was almost like he was doubting that, like he said, what did she send a text message and she saw that it was read? So she got confirmation that they got it. I don't think that's what she's referencing. I think she has some real information here and passed it along to who she needed to pass it along to and was just letting everybody know. I don't think she was adding the drama or anything like that. Now, there is something that did come up that was running around on X for a little bit over the probably the past 2 days. I can't remember who it was that revealed this or figured this out, but the address of the FBI and the DEA and those government agencies that were all in Wilmington, Delaware, that were sharing office space in an office building. Well, apparently that's the address for some of Candace's lawyers as well. She, I think, got them like 5 years ago. They represented her in a case that she brought against, oh, I can't remember if it was CBS or something like that. But anyway, she brought suit, lost the suit, but she said that she'd gotten, what do they call it? Fact checked, I guess, is how they used to put it. She got fact checked by this news organization, which caused her to lose revenue on Facebook. And so that's what she was suing about. She lost. So it was just stupid, whatever it was. But anyway, they tracked this back to she has lawyers that are in the same building. And oh, now we see what's going on. And it makes her story false or fake. I don't know. But I don't necessarily see it that way because how did she get the information that this intelligence groups were in this office building? Was it that her lawyers figured that out and let her know? I mean, she didn't let us know who told us this. So maybe that's where it's coming from. I don't know. I hope that when she comes back next week, she will address it and we'll figure out what's going on there. Something else that Tim Pool had brought up during his show was this idea, we have this schism that is going on now in the, I guess you would say, the conservative movement. And I want to share this article that I found on Newsweek that is kind of talking about what we have going on here. And keep in mind that I was telling you that I used to do a show from 2009 to 2013. So this is when Obama comes into office, and I was so upset about everything that I just had to get out there and talk about it. I was part of the Tea Party movement, which had also started at that same time. We had TARP, which was the bailout to the banks, the housing crisis where the housing market crashed. So all of this stuff happened right when I started my show. So I would talk a lot about Obama and his administration and the things that he was doing. But I also was looking back at Bush and Cheney, the neoconservatives, the people who want to keep going to war. Lindsey Grahamnesty is what I would call him, that wanted to keep the war machine going because that's how they make all their money. And so I talked a lot about that. And now it seems that there is a movement within the conservative movement, especially because now we've got the woke right, is what they're referring to as Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens and Nick Fuentes, and saying, see, they're anti-Semites and against Israel. And so they're as bad as the woke left. And so you've got this break that's going on here. But there's a more refined break going on as well, because today I was listening after Megyn Kelly's show. they do like an after show with Emily Jasinski, and people can call in. And this woman called in and said, the first time I ever voted for somebody rather than against somebody was for Trump. And I'm the same way. When I voted for Trump, I was voting for Trump all three times. And it was the first time I'd ever done that in my life. Usually I was like, well, I don't want the Clintons. I don't want that person. Don't want Obama. So I was always voting against rather than for. So I'm in the same place. But she goes, but I'm also not MAGA. And I went, I'm kind of there too. I mean, I want to make America great again, but I'm definitely more America first, because now it seems like you have to define yourself that way too. But I didn't go to the rallies. I'm not like smoking the Trump weed or whatever, that everything he does is wonderful. Obviously, I have been talking about things that I'm not happy about with what he's doing. And lately I'm trying to figure out, I said, God spared his life in Butler, Pennsylvania for a reason. And I'm trying to figure out what that was. I thought, well, maybe it was to get that peace still in the Middle East, but we know that's not really real. I don't know what's going on over there. And just watching as he's sliding into kind of how he was during his first term and how unhappy we were and that things aren't happening like we thought they were going to happen. So I'm trying to figure out why he was spared from assassination, because I thought, oh, we're going to need him for something. Something big is happening. So God knew that he was going to need to be there. And now I'm not thinking so much that. Anyway, this is on Newsweek. This is by Jesus Mesa. And he's talking about this high profile feud between President Trump and you got Marjorie Taylor Greene and Thomas Massie. And it's like over this release of the Jeffrey Epstein case, which grabbed national headlines. And then you've got Tucker Carlson had anti-Semitic provocateur Nick Fuentes on and didn't even challenge him. Said it was a completely unchallenged interview, which I don't say that it was completely unchallenged. He did challenge him on a few things and bring some stuff up, not as harshly as I would have liked. And it just explains, Fuentes is extremely popular on the youth right. And I don't even think it's necessarily just on the right. It's a lot of disenfranchised young men who may not even have a real strong political stance, but Nick Fuentes is saying things that they identify with. And then it talks about the Heritage Foundation, the little kerfuffle they had over there, because Kevin Roberts was the president there at this conservative think tank, which I actually know where that's at. I parked outside of it when I went to Washington, D.C. to protest in front of the Supreme Court when they were about to put Obamacare through. I parked right outside of it. They were So Kevin Roberts, the establishment conservative think tank's president, initially refused to distance Heritage from an increasingly right-wing Carlson, referring to a venomous coalition of critics and insisting the organization would not issue a disavowal. The statement provoked internal dissent. Staff members voiced their concerns publicly, and Princeton professor Robert George resigned from the board over it. Oh my gosh, we're all losing our minds because Tucker Carlson interviewed somebody. The controversy has become emblematic of a broader ideological struggle within the GOP as Republicans assess the damage from a string of electoral defeats in Virginia, New Jersey, and parts of Pennsylvania and Georgia, along with brutal poll numbers for their lame duck leader. Some are beginning to question the coalition's direction. So Newsweek has built this thing that they're calling the GOP matrix. And this matrix shows where 20 prominent GOP figures fall along two axes: populism versus traditional conservatism. And if I have to choose between the two, I'm definitely a populist rather than traditional conservative, because apparently traditional conservative means we want to go to war with everybody and keep the war machine going. I kind of look at traditional conservatism are the neocons. And then it has loyalty to Trump versus independent in a post-Trump future. So on this one side, you've got Trumpism, MAGA, and then all these pop-up ads. Traditional conservatism here is on the bottom, and then you've got your little break apart here. So over here, we've got leaning way over to the traditional conservatism. Thomas Massie's probably one of the most. You could probably even put I don't know what I'm trying to think there, but you got Ben Shapiro, Greg Abbott, Tom Cotton. Then here above that, drifting, I guess, a little bit away from traditional. Now, these are definitely people that I would say are neocons. So you've got Mike Johnson, Marco Rubio, Ron DeSantis. I don't know so much about that, but he definitely is on the president's side. So they're basically, I don't know if they're trying to say that these people are not. I guess Ben Shapiro was anti-Trump until Trump started being more pro-Israel, and now he's more on the Trump train, I guess you could say. Ted Cruz, big neocon. Oh, and look at this little clever thing they have here. Yeah, so it has like who they are. Josh Hawley, populist. Institutional position for Mike Johnson. I just call him a pansy. But then here's our people. These are the people that I find myself more aligned with. And you've got JD Vance, Steve Bannon, Vivek Ramaswamy, Tucker Carlson, Matt Gaetz, Marjorie Taylor Greene. Yeah, these are definitely the people that I find myself more with. Now, Laura Loomer, it's interesting. Can you imagine putting Laura Loomer in the same area as you put Nick Fuentes? I mean, we have polar opposites here. So I don't know how you can have a matrix where you have those two in the same area there. This here does not make any sense to me. Laura Loomer should probably be over here. And maybe in this corner, we could have like complete crazy train. I mean, everybody's talking about Candace Owens being psychotic. The woman looks like the clown from the Saw movies because she's so whatever she's done to her face. Anybody who gets that kind of surgery and looks that way, you just know there's something is not right up there. So what do you guys think? I see the breakdown. It kind of looks that to me. And like I've said on previous episodes, the problem that we have when it comes to the GOP and conservatives is that we are so independent minded and we hold to our values. I'm not going to go over the cliff with you if you don't hold the same values that I do. I will fight right alongside you with similar values, but there are some things that are just not tenable. And I really feel like the thing that has become the biggest part of this schism, there was this huge schism that broke the Orthodox Church from the Catholic Church. And it's been irreparable. And they've never come back together again. And how could you not be more together than we all believe that Jesus Christ is the Son of God, came down here, died on the cross, rose again, and is going, saves anybody who believes in him. And yet that has this huge schism that you can never get past. And I think that's where we are with the GOP as well. I think there is a huge schism here that we're not going to be able to get past. And the problem is we're up against Democrats and the left, which will go over the cliff together, even if they don't all agree on things. Because there's got to be a lot of people over there that are going, what's with the crazy wokes over there? I mean, I just think about, when you think about SCOTUS and how you have Kwame or whatever the hell her name is, it couldn't define what a woman is, but you're going to be a Supreme Court justice. Jackson Brown, whatever Jackson Brown, like this, whatever the hell her name is. I mean, I try not to pay attention to the three other women that are on SCOTUS because they're just dumb, absolutely dumb, especially if you can't define a woman. There's things that we're just not going to stay together on. The other thing that I wanted to get into is there's this show called The Quartering. I'm sure many of you've probably heard about it. And apparently they're in a little bit of a feud here with Ian Carroll. And I don't know exactly how to define Ian Carroll. He is, I guess I would say that he's kind of conservative, libertarian. I'd say he's more along the lines of what I am. But anyway, this is what's been going around on X. And it says The Quartering accuses Ian Carroll of bot use over early post metrics. And before I get into the response that Ian Carroll had for them, let me just kind of show you what they were pointing out. So what you have here is that Ian Carroll is obviously talking to someone. And in his response here, he says, y'all do great free advertising for her. And what the problem is here is that this is your view. So you got 513 views, but he has 548 likes. So that's what they're pointing out here. And they're saying, like in Have Long Said, Ian Carroll show uses bots or is botted fake. First of all, maybe it's a pretty short tweet. Do you think you could maybe make sure you've got the right words there, like and have long said? Oh, I'm sorry. Is that Yoda? Is it another language? I'm not sure. But anyway, this got cleared up pretty quickly because anybody who understands how views and things get done, it's just like when they tell you, look, if you pay $200 for my course, I'll tell you how to get the right algorithm going so that you get a ton of views and you go viral. Yeah, nobody knows. Nobody knows what an algorithm is. You don't know what's going to go viral and go crazy. Give me a break. So, anyway, what Ian has said here is, like I've always said, I'm entirely transparent about my whole rise, and it is entirely organic. I have never once paid for any such service, not for bots, not for follows, not for social media management, boosting, or whatever else people pay for. And he just talks about how he had a good strategy. The I guess the AI interpreting what all the different people are saying here is Carroll replied that his account's growth came from strategy, timing, skill, and shares from bigger accounts, urging focus on content over complaints. I mean, he was doing huge on TikTok. And then he became friends with Candace Owens, and then she put him out there and even hosted her show while she was on her break for maternity leave. Supporters explain the discrepancy as a common platform quirk where likes update faster than views due to caching delays. By late Wednesday, the post reached over 7,700 likes and nearly 40,000 views, with no evidence confirming bot activity and Carroll's engagement patterns matching organic growth. And you can see right here with his response to the quartering, we have 60K views, 4,000 likes. So it's like they caught just one moment in time, screenshot it. Look, he's fake. I have this little thing that I wrote here a few days ago, and it just says, watch who they erase. If they're trying to erase you, if they're going after you, if they're pounding on you, there's a reason why the focus is on you. And it's not because you're fake or you're not over the target. It's because you are. And that is one of the reasons why I have trusted a lot of the stuff that is coming out of Candace. Because as much as everybody says, well, this just benefits her because she's getting all these likes and she's making all this money and da 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 da. If you lose your reputation, you have nothing. You can be living in your ivory tower with all the money in the world, but if you have no reputation and everybody thinks that you are a liar and a fraud and a fake, she's a young woman. You got to live with that for the rest of your life. That's a big move to make, and then your children are going to eventually grow up to see that that's who you were as well. So honestly, I don't think there's anything fake about what she's doing. Is she entirely right? Could some people be hoaxing her? I don't know. But I have no doubt that she really is under threat. And I think that Ian Carroll is legit. When I go over and I watch his stuff, the interesting thing is, it's funny that people would say that he uses bots to help him because he actually got a bot attack. Was it last week I was watching one of his videos and the pastor who is like America's pastor, Rob McCoy, Candace Owens has talked about him, mega church guy, which already makes me go, Calvary Chapel guy, which makes me go, Anyway, Ian Carroll was trying to play a video of another guy who was trying to share something that Rob McCoy had said shortly after Tucker Carlson had been invited and spoken at the, the SAS TPUSA thing that happened in July of this year. And he was like, the video was up and he was getting ready to play it, to play the part that he wanted people to listen to. And all of a sudden the screen, like the video goes away and there's a message that pops up and says, that it went private. And he's like, oh my God, is this like, this happened live? Because he was live streaming and he's like, I'm live streaming. And they literally, while I'm doing this, have taken the video down and made it private so that I can't play it. So Ian Carroll was showing this and how this happened. And he goes, look at how this happened. And he goes, but I want to hear what the guy had to say as well. So he manages to find Rob McCoy's podcast, I guess, and it was on Apple Podcasts. And so he starts to just play the audio of it. And as he starts to play the audio, you could watch his chat. It just went, and there's just a ton of people in there just talking and mumbo jumbo and a bunch of crap and all saying the same things and just filling up his chat room. And he's like, oh my God, what is happening here? And he goes, this is happening live too, because he was live streaming. And he goes, these are all new accounts. You can see next to him, it has like the symbol. And I think this was on Rumble or something. And he's like, it's showing that they're a new account. So he goes, these are all probably got to be bots. And this used to happen to me during my show, but it was back before they could do the bot farming. So it was literally, they would all just decide to come to your chat room while you were doing a live stream and do stupid things. We would call them badger attacks because they would come in and there'd be like 100 of them and they'd all just start typing badger, 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 badger into the chat room. And what it does is it just fills up your chat. So it's just full of nonsense. And then the people who really want to be there and make comments and enjoy themselves, you just can't do anything. And then it distracts you because you could see that your chat's going crazy and you're like trying to kick all these people out. Like I didn't have a moderator myself and Ian doesn't either. So, you're trying to boot all these people and get them out of there. He didn't have the ability to do that, or he wasn't bothering to do that, but he was just showing as he was playing it, they came in. It's just amazing. So there are bots out there, but they weren't working for Ian Carroll. They were actually working against him. So it's just hilarious to me for them to even show, oh yeah, see, this is why he's so popular. No, the reason why Ian Carroll is popular is because he's just the common man pointing out the common stuff. He basically started out going in the grocery stores and going, look at the crap they're putting on the shelves that you are putting in your mouth. And did you know that these handful of food companies own all of this? It's this huge, corporation. It's just like all of the news corporations out there are owned by 6 companies. And we think we're getting variety. No, the only reason we're getting variety now is because independent media is starting to take the mainstream and throw it down, which is what I like to say that I'm part of as well, independent media. All right. Well, that's all I wanted to rant about today. Tomorrow is Thanksgiving. I don't know that I will be on tomorrow. Maybe if something tickles my fancy. But if I'm not on tomorrow, I'm going to go ahead and wish you a happy Thanksgiving today. And I hope you enjoy some time with your family. My parents will be here. I'll be making the turkey and all that stuff. And it's definitely going to be a very different Thanksgiving than what I had last year, because a year ago on Thanksgiving, which is actually the date's going to be Friday rather than Thursday, but I found out that my best friend died that morning. And I had to try to put on a Thanksgiving meal. And I just really was not in the mood for it, but I managed to pull it out and do it. And so I'm glad that I'm not going to be hopefully dealing with anything like that on this Thanksgiving. You guys have a great rest of your day.